Welcome back to the internet. Today, the question of the day is, what is the hardest to answer would you rather that you've ever heard? So this one's going to be a little bit different. Rather than me just reading off stories, let's see what kind of answers we can come up with. All songs exist, but they are all performed by Pitbull, or only one Pitbull song exists, but it's performed by every artist with their own cover interpretation. Well, I think that most people really just like to hate on Pitbull. Like, I really couldn't care less either way for him. But I would say that it's probably better to have every song in the world, because I've experienced times where there's been one popular song that's been covered by even just a dozen different people. And I get so sick of one song after just that much. So if there's one artist that can make every song in the world, then so be it. Would you rather keep scrolling on Reddit or save your job? My boss asked while standing behind me. Now this is kind of an odd question for me because Reddit is my job, so I'll probably get fired if I don't keep scrolling. Would you rather be surrounded by people who brag all the time or by people who complain all the time? You know, I'm honestly not that annoyed by people who brag all the time, but I will make them follow up with it. If somebody says oh, I once did 20 backflips in a row, then I'll be like, alright, well let's see it, do it right now. See, I'd rather have people that are trying to one-up each other and are really competitive than people who just whine and complain all the time. We get too much of that already. Would you rather crap out a watermelon or piss out a golf ball? Well then, to all the women that have had babies, maybe you'd be more qualified to answer this, but I'm not quite sure either one is physically possible without breaking some things. And so you know what? I'm just not even going to answer this one. Would you rather fight 200 third graders or a bear with sharks for arms? See, here's the problem with having 200 third graders. There's not really a great way for an army of 200 anything to really fight efficiently. It's not like they can combine the power of 200 together and then knock you out with that. So I think that it's a lot easier because with third graders, I mean, what are they, 4 feet tall? You could probably just charge right through the crowd of them and just knock them all over. And they probably have a harder time hurting you than a bunch of shark teeth and bear. Well, I guess the bear wouldn't really have claws because the sharks are the arms, but I'd say that 3 sets of teeth would be hard to deal with. This gem came from my 4-year-old daughter. Would you rather never be able to wear clothes or always have itchy allergy eyes? Okay, these two are a bit unrelated to each other, but I would imagine there's actual people out there who always have itchy eyes, and they can live with it. I don't know that there's really anybody out there that lives with no clothes ever. I mean, even if you could get away with public indecency, I mean, going outside during the peak of winter might be a bit challenging. So I guess I would take the itchy eyes. Would you rather fight Mike Tyson once, or talk like Mike Tyson for the rest of your life? You know, I could probably recover from the fight at least. I don't know that I would want to live forever with the lisp. So I guess I'd rather just take the beating. Would you rather change gender every time you sneeze, or not be able to tell the difference between a muffin and a baby? Well, I guess it would depend on how painful it is to change genders. The funny thing about this question is that it's trying to make both of them out to be inconveniences, but being able to just change your gender anytime would be kind of a superpower, so if you could just learn how to make yourself sneeze, then you could basically decide which side to be on at any point in time. However, not being able to tell a muffin from a baby, you know, you could just say, I'm never going to eat muffins again, and then it wouldn't really ever be a problem. If you're saying, I really want to eat that muffin, but it might be a baby, you better just say, I'll just give up muffins for life now. So yeah, I think I could go with the gender-bending sneezer. Would you rather have everyone twice your age and older talk like an adult from Charlie Brown, or everyone half your age and younger talks like a minion? This one's kind of an easy one because people twice your age and older really don't exist once you pass the age of about 45. So I'd say that once you reach your 40s or your 50s, this curse goes away. But having everyone half your age or younger talk like minions, you're gonna have to deal with that forever. And I don't even want to deal with that for 5 seconds. At least the Charlie Brown adults, you just can't really understand them, but minion talk just makes you want to punch somebody. But if every child talks like a minion, you're probably going to end up in jail at some point. Would you rather get stuck at all the red lights in traffic, or have incredibly slow internet after dark? Okay, so let's break this down into, would you rather take a long time to get anywhere you're going, or take a long time to use the internet, but only after certain hours? I suppose you could just set up a sleep schedule to where you would go to bed before dark, or just force yourself to do other things, so you could avoid that inconvenience. But I think I would have to go with getting stuck at every red light, because let's be honest, we all feel like we get stuck at every red light already. And I don't really drive that often, so if I have to take an extra few minutes every time I go somewhere, then so be it. It's better than not being able to upload this video at midnight like I always do. Would you rather know how you're going to die or when you're going to die? See, the problem I always have with questions like this is that knowing the answer to either one will basically create a paradox, because you're able to easily prevent that death, and then the answer will just keep changing, but then it changes to something else, and then you know that, you tend to avoid that, and then it changes to something else. But let's say that it's set in stone, like, here's the way you are going to die, it's going to be in an exact moment, and there's no way to avoid it. I think I'd rather know when, because then you can kind of set your schedule around it. Then you can be like, alright, I gotta get this stuff done, I gotta finish everything on my to-do list, and then I can be done from there. So yeah, I'd probably want to know when. Would you rather shoot your friend to death and become immortal, or have your friend shoot you to death and then become immortal? Sorry friend, I'll probably just shoot you. Would you rather speak every language fluently, or play every instrument perfectly? Well, based on my current actions, I would clearly pick the instrument one. I mean, you really have to break down the incentives and the purposes of being able to do either one of these. Like, if you can speak every language, sure, you can get some good translator jobs, maybe you can travel the world a little bit easier. But I mean, think about how soon it's going to be when technology just allows us to have instant translators everywhere we go. So that skill could become basically obsolete pretty soon. But if you can play every single instrument, which I'm kind of already trying to learn, then I mean, you could pretty much be the next Mozart. And I mean, even when it comes to just learning new languages, people ask me, like, how come you haven't learned a new language? And I'm just like, I haven't really found a reason to. Like, everywhere I go, everyone speaks English. I mean, sure, if I'm gonna go on vacation to a specific country, maybe I can't speak that language. But it's like, do I need to spend years practicing a language just to spend a week-long trip somewhere? So, I don't know, maybe I'll learn Spanish or German a little better at some point, but I find the instruments a lot more entertaining. Would you rather be ugly but smell amazing, or be handsome and beautiful but stink? I think it's kind of an obvious answer to want to be beautiful but stink. Because, I mean, it's easier to change your smell than it is to change your appearance. I mean, you could just buy some fancy cologne or something. But even let's say that you can't change your smell in this, and you're just forced to smell bad no matter what, you'll never be able to cover it up. At least you could still be a social media influencer. You can be making millions just from being hot. And your smell is not going to leak through the videos. Definitely not the hardest. I get a lot of different responses for this one, but I feel like it may not be true here. Would you rather have the ability to stop time and move freely in stop time, or have the ability to heal all wounds and diseases, including your own? Okay, so this is probably the first one so far that I've really had to think a lot about. I mean, being able to stop time is a superpower where you could literally get away with anything. But in the end, you're still going to age and only live so long. But then on the other hand, if you can cleanse all diseases and illnesses, people are going to think you're the Messiah and they're going to follow you all around. Just watch Life of Brian. And I think that just brings way too much attention. So I think I'd rather just be able to stop time, because then you can kind of do it privately and just stay invisible and not draw so much attention to yourself. Plus, maybe you would actually be able to prevent injuries from people rather than having to heal them afterwards. Would you rather be the smartest person in the world or the dumbest? Whichever one you pick, your intelligence doesn't change. Everyone else changes. Oh, well, that seems kind of obvious. I don't know why anyone would want to be the smartest. Have you ever watched Idiocracy? It doesn't go too well. I think that only people with a big ego and that are very power hungry would want everyone else to be much dumber so that they could try to control everyone. But I would say that it's pretty fun to be surrounded by people much smarter than you. Would you rather have a world that have spiders with long abdomen and slithers like snakes, or snakes that are small and build webs inside your house? Well, either way, they're probably just gonna live in Brazil, and I can just stay away from them. Would you rather be really hairy or really slimy? I guess that would depend on where the slime is coming from. Is it just that you sweat so much all the time that you're just always really greasy? Because that gets kind of annoying. At least if you're super hairy, you can just shave it all off. See, it's always interesting when there's a would you rather, where it's like, would you rather have a condition that a lot of people in the world already have, or would you rather have some weird imaginary condition? So I'm usually like, the one that a lot of people already have has already been proven that it's fine and people live just fine with it. So I'm kind of hesitant to want to try some weird condition that doesn't exist. But that's actually all of the would you rather questions we have from this. But my favorite would you rather that I have a hard time answering, that I want to see what you guys think, is would you rather go 10 years into the past and tell your past self anything you want, or go 10 years into the future and ask your future self whatever you want? So a lot of that kind of basically comes down to, would you rather start improving your life starting today and have the rest of your life be amazing, or go back in time and start your life 10 years ago to start getting good leading into now? However, if you go back 10 years and then tell yourself all these secrets to get rich and everything, then you come back to the present and you're already rich and you already have everything you could ever want. But I think that would kind of ruin the fun of getting rich, because I think that the most exciting part about going from rags to riches would be the process of making the money. So I don't know, maybe I would rather go into the future. It's kind of a hard one. I can't really decide on. So let me know what you guys think, and also post whatever other would you rather questions in the comments too.